Yeah, I'm a chef. I believe in cooking. Ana Ramohola na. President Duma Boko has been doing the rounds as a military revolutionary leader, something like Ibrahim Traore. But na hagibuele batho ba tswang Botswana. Word on the ground is that D-Man is a fraud and is not to be believed. Bari, D-Man is a puppet of the West, and that everything Yetsang is just for show and Asiras got actual change in the country. I told you guys last video, keep a close eye on this man because is he on our side or is he on the side of the West? I did an extensive video breaking down the fact that he has very duplicitous interests. On one end, America, in particular, Marco Rubio, Kena Dilanang Lintotsa International Affairs America. Then shortly after that, Duma Boko all of a sudden Osachakela Nto Ibrahim Traore Soduzifatselan Basabanali Miti. And I said to myself, aye man, there's something going on here that we don't know about. And the Motenona, he needs some closer inspection. What type of strategy? But as it stands, it's very confusing. We cannot tell and we have to keep a very close eye on him because he's dangerous. We know that they're out to try and kill Ibrahim Traore on Ajwal. So anybody that is a friend of Traore that came from nowhere, out of the blue, fell and out of the sudden, all of a sudden, like Botswana did, the Botswana president, we must ask a lot of questions. So, Katuta Mansu, the general himself, and Ikare Kutula very shortly. Ibrahim Traore, Baro to Chakela Botswana, Oto Chakela Mkhotwa, and President Duma Boko, which is very concerning because Holdo Duma Boko, he talks a lot about reinforcing security in the Southern African region. Now we know that there's a military base camp in Botswana, America in Botswana, which is a huge red flag because we know that anytime you have anytime you're hosting the American military, it means you are compliant with them, which is a problem for Africa in general because we know that America does not desire to see, and the West in general does not desire to see, Batobaba Bale free, Banale Ditukelo. They want to see us continuously relegated to slave labor and having our minerals exploited and having our minerals not change the lives of the citizens. Can you imagine? Our minerals are making people in the West rich, but we get nothing out of it. This is preposterous. It's ridiculous that these deals should continue on this way. But that has been the status quo until now. So we must do something to address this because we cannot continue to live like slaves. This is just apartheid light. It's slavery light. That's the era that we live in right now. And people, I guess, feel like a sense of accomplishment, I guess, because we don't have chains around our necks and our wrists and ankles. But nonetheless, we have to still answer to a white master who refuses to let go of our countries and our economies. So, is Duma Boko a real revolutionary or is he cosplaying as one? These are the questions we have to answer, guys. But evidently, he's been posing or cosplaying, if you will, as some revolutionary that has an intention to radicalize change in Botswana and in Southern Africa, because he does make mention to Southern Africa a lot. But how can you be the person you claim to be while hosting the American military base camp? Furthermore, ho utlwile ena General Michael Langley a bua ka hore he has meetings le ena Duma Boko le military ya Botswana often because they like to discuss military strategies and exchange training regimes and skills and strategies. Very concerning, because we know that America does not want to see Africans free and sovereign. They say they do, but they don't, because all of their currencies in the West depend on the exploitation of Africa. So there's no way they want to see us being sovereign. It's a conflict of interest. So re ipotsa Duma Boko kena kae le taba tsa America le di-affairs tsa America. Ka me re potse potso tse ngata ka motho onana, re se ka mo tshepa fela. Je ka mokgotsi wa ka mpolelletse hore ke motho a sa tshepahaleng, because he's very eloquent. He's got the gift of gab, but and we must watch him closely, because what exactly are his intentions, not just for Botswana, but the Southern African region. That's what I'm concerned about. So, Arutle, from his own words, when he was addressing the Botswana military, dressed up in military fatigue. Yeah, nah, these guys know how to put on a show, guys. Mare, harabout. Kebana here.
And I have said, I want to change this country spectacularly in 3 years. So I don't have 10 years. I don't have 5 years. I don't have 6 months to decide whether or not and go to court. No, I don't have that time. People, yourselves, need accommodation. And if I'm going to submit myself to a process that will take me 10 years to deliver accommodation to you, then I would have failed you, and failed you spectacularly. So what do we do? We need to ensure that there's transparency, there's openness, there's accountability in each and every process that we undertake. No doubt, that is not negotiable, and that there is no corruption.
The applause are very reluctant. It's almost like Batubaya Habamukhol, which is very worrying. So, I mean, how often have we heard leaders talk about we want to bring an end to corruption? Do they ever do it though?
And so people say, when you acknowledge a failed system and you say, whatever we do, we must not do this one. He say he's trying to give tenders to his relatives. I want you to know my relatives. Just check, you'll know them. You need to know them so that you can track whether any one of my relatives has any tender. You need to ascertain, you need to be sure about these things. So that when these allegations are flung about, because one is seeking to move from an entrenched system of corruption to something that offers us some redemption, yet you are able to interrogate the allegations. And we must interrogate the allegations together. And so it's going to be very critical for us to find ways of moving away from this corrupt system and engaging in a different one that we can monitor and track, one that delivers results timeously, within budget, no corruption. And so we need to look for the best practices. And that we will do. If there's anything that I'm not afraid to do, it is to take decisive measures, even in the face of
internal
And that we will do.
And out of the years until it's buanga so.
I'm not afraid to do. It is to take decisive measures.
Yeah, ne?
Of opposition and hostility. If it has to be done, it is good for the country, it is good for the people, I will do it. Make no mistake about it.
Sounds like a dictatorship. And that's not a bad thing. Communism, socialism, these things have been villainized by the West because they kill the selfishness of capitalism. Taking care of your people, there's nothing wrong with that. Instead of this individualistic mindset of eat or be eaten. Your society cannot survive in a system like that. Hence why capitalism always relies on slave labor, imported slave labor. But Duma, dictatorship is not bad. The question is he a benevolent one? That's what we don't know. It's yet to be seen. Or is he really going to stand up for his people and do what's best for Botswana? But now, word on the ground is that Diman Hatsepahale, and everything he says we should take with a pinch of salt.
I declare this and I declare it publicly so that it is known, so that when you gauge and you assess, you understand how I approach these matters. And with me, I'm always open to engagement. You disagree with me? Let's talk. You tell me, I think you're getting it wrong here. And I'll listen to you. And if I realize you are correct, I will say it to you, but not just to you. I'll also say it publicly. I've been advised by my friend or my colleague that this approach is wrong. I have reassessed. I have come to the conclusion that it is actually wrong, and we self-correct. That's how you operate.
Okay, guys, get more here. He's saying all the right things. He's definitely a great orator. Very convincing. Obviously, he's a very educated man, very smart. And he's just as articulate. I've heard him Gaswana. He's just as good, if not better. Very convincing in his speeches. Comes across as somebody that's very genuine and that genuinely loves Botswana and wants to do what's best for the nation. But it remains to be seen whether or not he will fulfill these things. But now what I'm saying is that keep a close eye on him. Ask and care and just believe in because as is usually the case with politicians who are just trying to win over the favor and loyalty of the vulnerable masses, which is sad that those are the people that will be taken advantage of. But yeah, how radically he wants to change Botswana and bring an end to corruption. Whether he will do that in this dictatorship style of his that he's seemingly trying to sell us on remains to be seen. Is he the Ibrahim Traore of the Southern African region? And if he genuinely is, what could this spark for the rest of the Southern African countries in terms of this revolution that Ibrahim Traore has? Not just, he hasn't necessarily started, but he's continued on in this revolutionary spirit. We've had Thomas Sankara, we've had Muammar Gaddafi, we've had many revolutionaries come in, Steve Biko. And usually the way that it ends for these great men is that they get assassinated. Hence why you see them hunting down for Ibrahim Traore, trying to find him, trying to get him. And the betrayal always comes from within. It always comes from the camp within. It always comes from your friends, your people. And we hope that Traore doesn't have a mole inside his camp, and that these new friends he's making with these African leaders that are suddenly fanboying all over him, that they're one about Sapahal and that they've not been bought. But we know the betrayal is coming soon. It's inevitable. We know how we are as Black people, guys. No matter how much we try to do good for ourselves, it's always somebody within our own camp that messes everything up. And this is a type of disease that we have that we need time, I guess, to medicate and treat and get rid of, because it stems from a place of self-hate. And when we, somebody said something really powerful to me. He said, our love for each other needs to be stronger than our hate for our enemies. I don't think we're at a place yet where we love one another. Hence why the betrayal is so strong amongst us, because we've been trained to become house Negroes, to comply with white supremacy in order for our own survival or our own benefit and advantage. And unfortunately, it will take a long time for us to cleanse ourselves of this type of toxic mindset. But Kakabano Duma Boko Atsepahala, and if he's the leader that he presents himself to be to the world, indeed. So that's all from me, guys. Until next time, which will be soon. I'm dropping back-to-back videos. Make sure you tune in for the next stream in a couple of minutes. Until then, shop shop.